Hello everyone! Today I'm going to start working on the second and final toy box in my Star Wars adventure, where the player infiltrates the Imperial armada and finds and destroys the ship carrying the Teezl. I'm going to do the entire build exercise for this toy box in one video. It is a quick build because it's set in space, and the only thing that we need to build is the small asteroid that the player lands on. The majority of the work in this toy box is going to be the logic needed to create the mission. But let's begin here in Bazaar by adding the toy box door that we're going to need. And I'm going to place it back here in this little hidden area. And I should have had this already selected. But I didn't do that ahead of time. So here we go, toy box door. And I'm just going to drop this back here, tucked out of the way. Alright, so on the toy box door, we're going to open up the logic menu, go into the properties. For the destination, we're going to create a new toy box. We're going to create an empty toy box. And for the level name on this, we're going to set this to Imperial Armada. And give me a second to type this in. There we go. And we're going to save. All right. And then on the properties for this, we're going to turn this off. And that's important for when you want to fly into the next toy box with the TIE Fighter. Alright, so there we go. The toy box door is set up, and we now have a new empty toy box waiting for us on the other side of that door that we can build in. The last logic connection we need to hook up is for this trigger area out here. So when the player reaches the hyperspace jump point, we want to trigger the toy box door to change the level. So on this trigger area, new logic connection, when entered by player any, we'll go back over to our toy box door. I still love the way that toy box looks. That city turned out really well. I know I say that a lot, but I'm just really impressed with it. Alright, and we're going to change the level. And there we go. Now at this point, I am going to save my toy box, and then I'm going to go through this door. And if you're following along with me and building this on your machine, you should pause the video now and do the same thing. And then when you're done, you can resume the video, and I'll meet you on the other side of the door. Okay, here we are in our second toy box, and the only thing I did after I got here was put down a boombox out of the Gameplay Toys drawer, and I turned off the music ahead of time so that when I change the sky it doesn't do anything. In case you're wondering, my music recommendation for this toy box would be under the Intense category. You can use the Battle of Endor. That's what I use in my toy box. The Asteroid field would work too, but that's what I use. And once again, let me set silence on this. And override music is on. Alright, so here we are, empty toy box, our default sky, our default block. Let's go ahead and set the theme while we're right here. And we're going to use the desert landscape theme. I'll set that to be my theme. We're not going to keep this terrain block, but just makes this easier. That's going to be the theme for all of the terrain we put down today, which isn't much. And then we're going to come down to the Instant Fun category and drop our sky changer. And we're going to change the sky. If we open up the logic menu for this, the sky I'm going to use is going to be from Toy Story in Space. That's in the 1.0 category. It's the Infinity and Beyond sky. Alright, so there we go. And we can delete the sky changer now because we don't need it. Okay, looking around a little bit, the orientation in the toy box when we first come in, that start pad has us facing this way. And if we look around a little bit, the planet's over there, galaxies are over there. So we're going to keep this same orientation. And then we're going to start building our asteroid. And this is going to take a little bit of time, but it's not too bad. And we're going to scroll over here and begin with this block here. Let me pull up my screen grab here. Nope, not that one. The thinner one. There we go. This one. And I'm going to back up this way just a little ways. So about like that. And we're going to go up a ways, because I want the player to be able to fly around this thing and not hit the bottom of the edge of the toy box down there. That bottom invisible barrier. So we'll drop this up here. And we're going to drop one over there and one over here. So like that. Okay. And then we'll pick up this little smaller piece and drop this in this middle. Just like so. Okay. And then at this point, I'm going to bring the boom box up here. And I'm going to build this asteroid from the bottom up. So I don't normally build this way. So this might be a little bit of a challenge for me, because I would normally start with the top down. But I think it'll be easier to build for you if I do it this way. Because if I put the top layer on first and then I try to put the area on beneath this, it's going to look kind of funny. Alright, so we're just going to drop this right in the corner over here. Alright. And then back into here. So this will be the bottom floor of the toy box, and this is where we're going to be hiding the Creativitoys. Normally when you have an outer space toy box, it's difficult to hide the toys, but since we have this asteroid, we can build a little hidden area inside of it to put all our Creativitoys and stash them out of the way, and so that's what we're going to do. Now I'm scrolling over to the right, because I'm going to drop a few pieces out here that we need so we don't have to keep scrolling like this too much. We are going to use... Is it this one? No, it's the other one. No. It's one of these. Nope, maybe it is this one. Sorry, I gotta think about this for a minute. Well, we'll come back to that. Alright, so we're gonna drop one of these out here, and again, that's where our asteroid is that we're building. So we're gonna put these far enough away that we're not gonna run into any problems. Okay, and then we're going to use these pieces to build a little layer around this, because we don't want this to look square. So we'll put a perimeter around this. All right. And then you get to this point and you run into a little bit of a snag here because we don't have an inside corner piece that we can put in here. So I'm actually going to take and flip this around like that. And that's going to look a little funny, but players are not really going to get underneath here and study this too precisely, I don't believe. And so the idea here is to just, I'm going to go ahead and take this piece out. The idea here is we've got this little square edge over here. And not much you can do about that. We hide it as best we can. All right, so the next level, let's pick this piece up and put it down. That gets us back to that part of the drawer. And we're going to start building the next level up here. And we're basically going to put this around the toy box here. Sorry, I had to get my screen grab. And we're going to build a little wall that kind of encloses this. You could fill this in solid, but I'm not going to do that. Because that, by putting this little barrier around the perimeter of this, this gives us a nice little hole under here where we can hide our creativa toys. So I really, really like that. And from the outside, the player is never going to see that there's this chamber in the middle. So that's really good. Okay. So now we'll add the next layer of these. And once again, we're just going to go around the perimeter of this and fill this in. And the nice thing about this again is that when you're over at the fleet and you happen to look back toward the asteroid, it doesn't look like a flat island in space. It looks like it has some three-dimensionalness to it. And it looks a little more natural this way, I think. This one we'll put in here. And there we go. Okay, so that is the next level. All right. So at this point, we'll come back and pick this up once again, and we'll build the top level here, or the next level up, which is pretty much the top level. And for this, we're going to slide this over like that. And we're going to place 3 of these like so. All right. Again, the planet's over that way. And we're going to put a 4th one here, but we're going to raise this up and put it at this level. This will be the base for our mountain. And I'm doing that because just to add some three-dimensionalness to it. Okay, so we'll put this under here. With that out there. So all I've done, I know that's a little bit hard to see, but if we raise this up just a second, you can kind of see inside this little cubby here, I added the next size smaller from this, and then the next size smaller from that. Okay? And then this sits down right on top of that. All right. And now we'll start adding, before we build the mountain, we'll add the these little pieces around the perimeter of this to make this look a little bit more interesting. So let's see, we'll start over on this side. We're going to place this here like this. The next size larger we'll put around the corner over here. And this just helps this to not look so square. And you can kind of go have a little fun with this. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm building some little peninsulas here and stuff that sticks off of it. You don't want it to look too round, you don't want it to look too square, but this just makes it look interesting to me. So like that. And let's see. Yeah. All right, and then we'll put a few up here on this thing as well. Like that. Put this one around the corner here like this. And let's grab this piece. I'm using a good variety of terrain pieces because I got the memory for it in this particular toy box. The build is so small, we can afford to use a lot of terrain pieces and put in a lot of detail. Here we go. So that's under there. And because this looks pretty open under here, let's go ahead and fill that in with some of these. So I'll pick that up, put it down. So there we go. So it just looks nice underneath. And we got this level up here. So that's starting to look pretty good. Okay, let's pick this piece up and put it down. And we'll scroll back over to the right. And we're going to put a couple of these down. And we're going to try to set this up so it doesn't look so square around the base of this mountain here, which I think is really important. Alright, so we'll put a couple of these in here like that. Hang on a second. Gotta find my screenshots here. Okay. And we'll come grab this. Okay, so that just creates a nice little stepping area to get up there. And we'll go over to the right, and we're going to use this little piece down here. We'll put this on the corner. So that kind of protrudes, and that's starting to look really good. It doesn't look so square now. And I'd like to have kind of a ramp that guides the player up on top of this thing, so we'll use this piece for that. And that coincidentally fits in there really nice. So that's good. Okay, next piece here. Trying to figure out this mountain piece that I was looking at earlier. I may have to do some scrolling and look through here because I didn't see this earlier. Yeah, this gets us into the canyon pieces. It's definitely not here. Those are the tunnels. Terrain blends, and then we're back to the square blocks. piece has got to be one of these. That is not the one that I've got here in my screen grab. And that is not the one that I've got in my screen grab. And neither are these. So my question is where is that mountain that I'm looking at in my screenshot? I do not see it. All right, I'm going to have to go offline, I think, and find it. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's... Here it is. This is it. It's the rocky terrain block. Okay, sorry about that. We're going to drop this right here like that. So if you put it on the corner, I moved it a half a nudge back like that. All right, I think that just adds some really good size and height to our mountaintop here, which I really like. And then because it's a little bit square around the base of this, we're going to add in some other little details. So we can kind of cover up some of the squareness there by putting that in place. And there's a little piece here, which is kind of nice. So we can put that up against that little square piece there like that, which will kind of cover that up a little bit. Now, that puts some square stuff on that end. So we got to fill that in with something. And for that, we'll use another one of these pieces, because this is square on that end and that's square on that end. That fits together pretty nice. So I like the way that looks. All right, and then over on this side, this looks really square to me here. And we have this ugly terrain seam. So I want to try to cover that up. And so we're going to use these pieces here to do that. And I think we can put this here like this and use the small piece in here. Yeah, that'll fit in there like that. And that lines up real nice with that ledge there and helps cover up that seam a little bit, which really helps. All right, that's looking really good. And then this is kind of flat out here, so we'll add some depth to this. And to do that, let's use another one of these pieces. We can't make this too rocky because the player has to have somewhere to land, but we don't want this to look too flat, so that'll help break that up a little bit. And then over here, let's see. We can place a couple of these. And maybe this little sandy piece here on the back side of that. And that just adds some nice visual interest. And also the player is going to be coming from this direction, so that kind of invites the player to be landing over here in this area, because this is the flattest part of this thing. They could try to land here, but there's not a lot of room. And of course up here is going to be a challenge, so I like the idea of kind of creating a little landing strip there for them. Okay, so that's good. And then we're going to come down here and delete this block because we don't need this anymore. And we need to move remove our start pad. And this is not going to be the final place where this is going to go. Oops. Just trying to spin around so I can see there. But for right now, we'll put this on the asteroid. It's actually going to go out there in space by itself eventually. But for now, while we're building this thing, it'll be better here to have it on this asteroid, I think. And we'll drop it like that, so the player's facing that way. And of course that drops us back here where we started. But we can get up here a little quicker now. That asteroid looks pretty good. And with that, the build exercise for this toy box is pretty much done. I told you it would go quick. The only thing we have left is the Imperial armada itself, but we'll add those ships next time as we begin working on the logic for the reconnaissance part of the mission. Until then, I want to thank you for watching. Before you go, please hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know what you think of my build for this asteroid. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you can do that by clicking my photo in the lower right corner of the video. That's all for me today. See you next time.